I don't do intros. How you guys doing today? I'm doing all right today. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new build, something that I'm calling the Briar Executioner, the Red Executioner. It's a build that's very spread thin on its stats for level 90, but it is still pretty decent, honestly. Um, So fun fact, this character actually was completely different before I made this build. He was a Death Blight build at level 90 where I used Death Lightning. I had different armor on. He was like very reminiscent of my Dark Souls 1 character. The idea behind it was this character stole Nito's power. He linked the fire. He got transported to the lands between because man is bullshit, and then he was going to wield the power of death through Death Lightning and the Eclipse Shuttles. And I didn't have Fia's Miss on the build because it has a weird intelligence requirement to it. But just Death Blight stuff. But the problem with Death Blight stuff is that it's literally impossible to to Death Blight people nowadays. So I completely changed up to build. To the build that you're seeing now, which is this like blood thorn sorcery Mariah's executioner sword strength arcane weird faith build hybrid. The points are pretty spread thin on this build, so it's not really like amazing, at least not in this video. After this video, however, I did completely change the build, completely got rid of the faith, completely got rid of the Bloodthorn sorceries, but for the build, I decided to use them because they're honestly, man, I really like the Bloodthorn sorceries, and it's just a shame that like it's hard to make them work on builds, especially builds that like are not over level 100. I don't know, they're just fun spells, and I wish they would do more than what they do. They do damage to you when you use them, so I always felt like they should do more than what they actually do. Now, the Mariah's Executioner Sword, however, is insanely good. Even with all these points in the wrong places on this video, it still does insane amounts of damage. Like I said, I did update the build after this this video, so if you guys actually want to see like a full-on, full spec'd out Mariah's Executioner Sword build video, I will go ahead and do that. But before we talk about the build character and all that stuff, let's talk about a couple of things. For one, I would really appreciate it if you guys would like and subscribe the video. That would mean the absolute world to me if you guys did that. We're almost to 500 subs here on the channel, which is insane to even think about, man. We're trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. I think we can do it if we're tenacious enough. So if you guys wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, man, it would mean the world to me. And if you guys want to leave a comment asking me anything about the build, leaving suggestions for me, stuff like that, I read every comment. I try to respond as many as I possibly can. Thankfully, there actually isn't that many comments per video. So if you guys want to talk to me, just go ahead and leave a comment, man. The other announcement that I want to make is today when this video goes live. So if you're seeing this video and it hasn't been live for only a couple hours like that, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch for the second time ever. So if you guys wouldn't mind going over to Twitch and coming into the live stream, I think we're going to be doing some level 20 invasions on there. There's my Twitch account right there at the bottom. Go ahead and follow me. Come say hi to me. Come chill and chat, man. We'll have some fun. I promise. All right, let's talk about the build. So, a lot of the points on this build are spread thin because of the weird faith requirements that the Bloodthorn sorceries have, and then the Executioner Sword itself has 23 arcane requirement to it. Something that I did discover, which I didn't know before this, was that Middlesense Prosthesis and the Rotten Sword Insignia and those like consecutive attack buff talismans, they actually do buff the weapon art on the Mariah's Executioner Sword. So yeah, we have some of that on the build too. And again, if you guys want to see actually a full build video based solely around the sword, let me know, because I really like this sword, man. I mean, look at the damage. That's pretty good damage, and that's not even optimized. You guys know me. I don't really like to optimize my builds. I like to just make them really, really cool. But for this, I really couldn't justify to keep the sorceries on, because they're just not amazing. You're gonna see me do something stupid here. I walked up to these people and I pressed the wrong button. I wanted to Briars of Sin, and instead I pressed R1 for the Dragon Communion Seal instead of my staff. So I sit there like an idiot and scratch my head while this guy hammers me to death. Like, no, no, no! I'm so stupid, man. But yeah, guys, if you guys want to see a more focused video around the Execution Sword, let me know, and I'll make it happen sooner than later. But for now, I'm gonna, move on to other things while we talk about this build. Something else I want to mention is that at the end of this video, there's going to be two invasions that are just two different specimen of Elden Ring players that I just want to talk about, because these people absolutely blew my mind with just how stupid and unfun they were to fight against. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but for now, let's talk about the character, because we talked about the build already, so let's talk about the character. You guys know I like to add lore to my characters. So a couple of years ago, I was just on YouTube randomly. This is before Elden Ring came out. And like I was watching a video about like medieval executioners and like how normal their lives actually were. Like they weren't like the high fantasy version of them, like you see in Skyrim when you first walk through Solitary and or Solitaire, whatever, is it Solitary? I don't, Solitude. It's Solitude, man. Solitude, the city of Solitude. When you walk into Solitude and you see this guy getting his fucking head cut off, it wasn't really like that. Apparently, like headsmen in those days, they were like just normal people. So I kind of wanted to add this element of this guy used to be very normal until these things happened to him. So obviously he has the Haima Glintstone crown on, which I think is what the battle mages used. So in my lore of the character, maybe he was once a battle mage, which I think were originally carrion mages that were sent away, or Raya mages that were sent away to travel and to, learn. They were like hermit mages, basically, that were trained for war and stuff like that. So I thought about this like scholar who became a war veteran, who eventually, maybe he came back and he settled down. He actually had a normal life. Maybe he got hired as a headsman executioner, right? And to help signify his armor, to help make his armor feel like it was more weighty than what it actually was, because in the land of Eocade, I guess you put briars on your armor when you're guilty of things. At least I think that's what the lore is. So what would he be guilty of? My thoughts is that he actually did settle down, and he got married, and he was going to have a family, but he didn't actually know exactly who his wife was. He kind of just fell in love with her, and they got married very quickly. And then later on down the line, he finally got a job as an executioner, right? Someone who just swings and beheads people. Maybe she was like a criminal that he just didn't know about. Maybe she was like a very notorious assassin or something like that, and she got caught. He wouldn't find this out until she was liable for execution, right? He just wouldn't know. And maybe he was the one that swung the sword that beheaded his own wife, I think that was I think it's a pretty cool little backstory, and it kind of gives an explanation as to why he would be wearing briars on his armor. He feels guilty about killing his own wife, but his duty called for him, and now he's out here punishing the guilty. Anyway, let's talk about this guy. He is one of the specimen I mentioned before. So this guy in Liurnia, the host, that is, he's out here summoning Duelist, and he's Taunter's Tonguing. I'm pretty sure he has a rune arc on. Correct me if I'm wrong, he might not, I don't know. I have no doubt he has the Hunter's Ring on. His build is entirely to take advantage of the area that he's in, which is he has all lightning infused weapons. He has a a crossbow, a repeating crossbow with sleep arrows to put you to sleep. And of course, he's a fucking poison monster as well. And this guy, I fought him one time, and he beat me, and he messaged me. He told me to get good, blah, 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 400 subscribers for what, all this shit, right? Then I was like, okay, whatever, dude. I don't really care about 1v1 people in the lake who have lightning-infused weapons. Because they're just too scared to fight in the Coliseum because you can't heal and your weapon isn't buffed by the water in the area in the Coliseum, right? I don't know. I don't understand that mentality of this guy. He's just... He literally has all of the advantages, and he still chooses to do this. Which, I don't know, it blows my mind, but whatever. He went down pretty easily the second time that I came into his world. The first time he did get me, but I wasn't really expecting sleep into lightning-infused Guardian Sword Spear bullshit, right? My build doesn't do nearly enough damage for all that. Now we're going to talk about this group of individuals right here. Now, shout out to the co-opper, because the co-opper was pretty chill. The host, however, was... I don't know how to say it. He had the littlest dick I've ever fucking seen in my life. And not to say that I've seen his dick or anything, but... just the absolute tiny ball energy of this man. Just the absolute cowardice of this host. So they're chasing me through the level, right? The invasion actually starts out pretty fun. They're throwing things at me. They're chasing me through the level, whatever. Spamming spells at me. It's fine, you know. It's gonna happen. I get into a little bit of a scrap with the co-opper up here, and the host is mysteriously missing from the equation. We had this nice little fight right here, and this is why I say shout out to the co-opper, because he actually stood and fought me. He, like, you know, it's whatever. And we had a good time. I'm not sure why the sword pushed me back there, but it did, which was strange. I thought he should have died, but it's whatever. PvE cleans him up, I clean him up, and then he goes down. And then I'm looking and I'm trying to find where this fucking host is, and he has opened this fog wall, which apparently I can't get to. It's just an empty room, but I can't get to it apparently because of the imp statue. And he just decides to hide there in that room, taunting me to where I couldn't get to him for 10 minutes straight. This guy just wouldn't get out this fucking room. I was losing my mind. I was like, come on, man, this is so bull. I'm not gonna leave the world. And then eventually he makes a mistake. He gets a little too close, a little too you know, a little too brave for his liking, and he eats the dancing blade to his face, and he gets fucking destroyed and teabagged for eternity. Those players, man, they were absolutely fucking shameful. But that's the video for today, guys. If you guys like this kind of content, this kind of PvP content, this kind of build making content, this kind of Elden Ring content, invasions, duels, I do it all. Be sure to like and subscribe to the video, man. Like I said before, 500 subs, almost there, trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. I'm pretty sure we can do it. If you guys wouldn't mind following my Twitch account too, DustInsanityYT at Twitch. I'll see you guys there, man. With that being said, guys, fare thee well, peace out, and all that fun stuff. I'll see you later, man.